Construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another episode of Construction Champions Podcast, where we're burning the damn house down. Yes, I would not let that go. I started the podcast with that. We kind of played with a couple other things, but we're burning the house down. That's what we're doing, so we can just rebuild it. We're talking professionally. We're talking personally. We're talking about looking in the mirror and figuring out how you can be that champion in every aspect of your life, especially with your construction business. Now, I'm super excited for today's guest, Devin. It is great to have you here today.
Thanks for having me, Ron. Really looking forward to it and excited to do it.
Awesome. Well, if you're not on watching on video right now, you notice he's got the Build 12 logo behind him. His dad is Les, and be familiar with him. He's one of our top rated episodes, and they are the founding partner on this show. So if you guys haven't checked Build 12 out yet, definitely do that. But I'm going to let Devin give us, all the construction champions out there that don't know who you are. Tell them who you are, what you do, and what got you here today.
Let's do it. Yeah, so to start, I'm Devin O'Hara. I am son of Les O'Hara, the contractor guru. And, I'm a third generation contractor. 28 years old now. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, in Arlington Heights my whole life. And I was always an athlete. So that's where most of my focus was, all growing up. But I was always around the trades. My father having his roofing company that he helped his own father build for a long time, have his masonry company, his ducts. My dad's had so many different construction companies in his life that I've had no choice but to be attached to the trades and be knowledgeable in these fields. And so the way that Build 12 was concepted together is that he realized, hey, I wish I had, he came across this software that he wished he had in his businesses for these many years. And he was like, wow, I would love to tailor this up specifically for contractors and not only run it in my own business, but be helping other owners, save time, money, and grow their business too. So when he came to me super excited, it's hard to see him get really excited. He doesn't have the craziest emotions all the time, but just seeing his excitement for this, it really woke me up like, wow, because I have a background in business marketing. So I was like, how can we put our two heads together, all his knowledge of running the business and my knowledge of marketing, with new era wave of technology, how can we put this together for owners? And that's when we co-founded Build 12 together.
Awesome, man. So yeah, literally third generation in the construction industry right here. I'm sure you got stories for days from your grandpa to your dad. But we're going to dive right in there, and I'm going to ask the $1 million question. And I can't wait to get your answer because of your perspective of growing up around this. Is what makes a construction champion?
That's a great question. I would say in my personal experience, what makes a construction champion is somebody who understands all aspect of the business, right? So there's one part to it, which is the physical labor, making sure the job gets done correctly. And yes, that is very important. But what I've learned through my dad and through my grandpa and just all of my experience around the trades is really branding and treating your company and, the clients you work with like gold. They are the key to your success, making sure you're tailoring to their needs, that they're being heard for any changes to the scope of work or, project that you're doing. It's very important to be treating the clients that you're working for with the utmost respect and I've also learned from my dad, just building a brand, great marketing, having great reputation is everything. So I think a construction champion has great reputation. They have great branding, and they also do great work for people that is just undeniable. And so everybody can trust them.
I love that. And it really goes, that all goes pretty hand in hand. Like your reputation is a direct reflection of how you treat your customers and just that standard. And then that's where the brand comes into play. Like where do you position yourself in the market and what does that look like? So I'm
Right.
excited to dive into that. And let's start with the branding because that's your background. You're as close to a professional branding and marketing person we can possibly have on the show. How do guys in the construction industry start to differentiate themselves and have that championship level marketing and reputation building?
Yeah. I think it's a really important topic because one cool thing for me is I feel that I've been positioned in a place where I could really bridge new school and new wave marketing tactics with the old school construction style. You know, a lot of owners, including my grandfather and even my dad for a long time, and the clients we work with, a lot of contractors have the old school mindset, pen and paper, word of mouth, great reputation, and that maintains business because you know people trust them, and they're mentioned and referred by other people. But when you look at nowadays maximizing revenue and the growth of your business and saving time throughout your weeks, there's just so many tools and systems that could be put into place. And so I feel like I'm right in the middle of, hey, how can I show the old school how they should be using the new school in construction, because let's be real, there's a lot of opportunity there. And so yeah, I think that's the big thing for me is with branding, it's, you know, it's not only just the work you do, it's the logos you have, the website you build, your presence on social media, you know, the email campaigns and follow-ups you do with your customers. So there's just so many aspects to it where I just, in talking to a lot of these construction owners, want to make sure they know how important branding truly is and not just doing the physical work. Because in today's day and age, that's not quite enough if you're really looking to grow and expand into a revenue generating machine.
Yeah, and I think when we look at this from a whole perspective, it's just what technology plays into that. So we're going to kind of not either know it, but so I use Build 12 and I'm familiar with what you guys do. So I kind of for everybody out there listening and just kind of how we can so you guys can build consistency with that outreach, with that message, no matter who in the company is responsible. This is one of the things I love about it is that you can have that consistency at scalability that all too often in construction we lose because like you said, it's pen and paper. It's this note over here, or it's an individual email that an owner or a manager or a sales rep, somebody just sends off a random individualized email that there's no consistency there. And what you guys help build it is when you talk about that branding, all of that kind of stuff is like that's what you guys help companies do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, great point. It's funny because actually today, to your point, I just had a demo with an owner, and her husband, they're tile contractors. They do the physical work, and she's just a one-person show doing all the follow-ups, pen and paper for all of job tracking. You know, she's like, we're struggling right now to really grow and get jobs booked for the future. And I'm like, well, you know, with all due respect, I love how hard you're working, but you know, at some point it becomes, are you working smarter instead of harder? Because we only have a certain amount of hours every week. So if you're doing the physical work, if you're relying on just word of mouth and pen and paper, you're missing out on software and systems that could be saving you a bunch of time and help growing your business. So yeah, that is what Build 12 is about is, we have automation. So no longer are you just pen and paper keeping track of everything, having to call them, email them, and follow up. We could have, AI technology doing the follow-ups for you, having preset messages. So, okay, when she goes into estimate sent, you got a message coming out saying, hey, it's Devin from North Shore. Just sent your estimate out. Look forward to hearing back on it. Things like that. And we do things at mass. So instead of calling 100 separate property managers, spending hours doing so, now you could have a list of property managers, homeowners, whoever you're targeting, and reach out to them in mass, in turn saving you a ton of time and, the ultimate goal, growing your company, booking more jobs.
Yeah, and I think when guys out there listening, automation means you don't have to be the one clicking the button all the time, which is a fantastic thing. And when Devin referenced North Shore and said, like, this is like, that's their company. This stuff has been tried and tested in the construction industry. It's one of the things I love about them and what they're doing is that it wasn't just built to be a marketing software. It was built to be something for the construction industry that was born out of the construction industry. And that's why I want to emphasize that so much, because that's what our industry needs. And that's what allows software to be scalable within our industry. And just imagine if every time you sent out an estimate, when that estimate hit your customer's inbox and say they don't do anything, they don't reply, 24 hours later, they get another email. 48 hours, they got another one. And this is all planned and thought out strategies to move them to a sale instead of, nah, I might call in 48 hours, or hey, make sure we shoot a message out in the next few days. Like it'll literally a system that you set up one time. Devin, what's the feedback on that? I have to believe like that right there in itself is an amazing thing that you guys are getting feedback on.
Yeah. It certainly is, and I'm glad you mentioned it. It's funny because that's usually one my pops and I will wait to show the owners the automation side, because we say like Build 12 is like a Ferrari to us, of running a construction company. And when you lift up and look under the hood, that's the automations. That's when you start getting a little more complex, because there's so many capabilities of automations that we can help build for the owner. But like you said, the beauty of it is, yes, it's no more separately calling, following up, keeping track of things yourself, because once you have the system in place, you're just running your business on autopilot. When an estimate's sent out, that's sending a text to the customer. If they don't respond, they'll get an email. If they don't respond to that, you could drop a voicemail right to their phone. And so the beautiful thing is too, there's a setting where you can click that, okay, if a customer responds to an automation, now it's going to stop. So it's not just spamming and sending all this stuff to people, but it's a system that you're creating for yourself that could have text, emails, calls, anything you're dreaming of. And whenever that person responds to you, now the automation gets switched off because the goal is done. So we're saving owners so much time every week because these automations are in play for them. And so no longer are they having to do all this follow-up work and just spend all these hours trying to keep track of everything.
Yeah, and that's so powerful. It's like, how many times on here, guys, do we hear systems? If you're ever going to grow your business, you have to be able to put the systems in place. This is one of those systems that is very easy to take what you do. And I speak because, like I said, I use this. Like, I'm knowledgeable on this because I do, like, all I do is I take what Ron does and then I automate that. So you understand what works, then you just automate that. And then like how Devin said is like, when somebody responds, you get that and then you respond. It's not like they respond and it just kicks out another message answering that. Like, it lets you know all this is doing is the little things that are just tedious. It makes it a lot easier. It's like thinking about
Absolutely.
when I talk about technology, Devin, a lot of times I like to talk about like the shift from the tools we use. Like,
Okay.
think about hammering in a nail with a hammer and how tedious that is, and what it's like now to use your new Paslow nail gun. Like, that's what we're talking about, is taking out that bullshit that makes it just hard to make it hard and do something that's just super easy. It's as easy as pulling the trigger. You load it and then you just pull the trigger. And
Absolutely.
that's how powerful something like this is. It's why I wanted to have Devin on here and have this conversation. And I'm glad his answer to what makes a construction champion took us down this road, because otherwise I was going to have to pivot, because I truly believe in what you guys are doing and the impact that it can have on somebody's business from day one is amazing. And we just have to be willing with anything. You guys hear everybody we have on here that talks about technology is it's just about getting out there and trying it and not being afraid of it, because it's truly what will help scale your business. I got this is just a question I have, is how
Yeah.
many, so when you're dealing with somebody that is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 employees, how many hires do you think it saves a company implementing your guys' software?
Great question. I would say it could save many hires, because to me, Build 12 ends up being like the sales and marketing division of a company. Now, on that same note, though, one interesting thing we have is we're actually helping pair owners now with VAs, aka virtual assistants, who could help them be inside of Build 12 for a nice hourly rate, be working the system for them. Because every basis is like company to company. So to answer your question, a lot of times I like to meet with these owners, see where they're at, see what type of employees they already have. Do you have an admin? Do you have a social media person? Do you have anyone in marketing, right? And
Mhm.
if they're just a one-man show or don't have many employees, that's when I bring up to them, hey, you certainly could be doing all of this by yourself in Build 12, but I'd highly recommend hiring someone like a VA at a low hourly rate who could be your Build 12 champion working this system for you. So I think it could certainly, it saves a ton of time and money in general, but I think it's important, if the owner isn't going to be the one inside the software actually doing the work and work in the system, they should have a designated person inside of there who is their Build 12 admin. And that's what we've been doing, is helping pair owners with that type of admin now. And another thing is too, the way we're beating competitors like the HubSpots and Salesforce, a lot of these general CRM systems, they're not tailored for contractors, nor are they contractors. They have hidden fees. They pay, they charge per user. And actually in Build 12, we allow unlimited users. So if it's a company of 20 people, all 20 of your employees can have access into Build 12. And we actually highly encourage it, because we want that team atmosphere where everyone's on the same page. They have access to these tools and features to be helping the greater good of the company. So,
Amen to that, man. That's why, I mean, I'm a firm believer in software that's built by the industry for the industry, not
right.
just because that's the pivot I made, just because I think how technology was brought into the construction industry was ass backwards, where we tried to make a bunch of stuff that wasn't designed for the construction industry work, and
Totally agree.
it doesn't work that way. I think the person Silicon Valley, I think they would have been better off designing software for the construction industry, and then you could probably copy and paste that into other industries easier than you could copy and paste something outside of the construction industry into the industry. So I
Couldn't
love
agree more.
I love what you
Yeah.
guys are doing. I know I
Yeah.
heard about me and Les had a conversation about the VA stuff. I mean, that is going to be a game changer for the construction industry. I don't know where you guys are at on really rolling that out nationwide and stuff, but just the fact to have people that not only are familiar with Build 12, but are familiar with the construction industry to be able to step in and help with those administrative tasks. It's a game changer. I mean, it's why Les is leading the way on a lot of this stuff. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
we're just
And it,
lucky enough to be here. Well, you're his son, and I'm just lucky enough to be on the bandwagon rolling right along with you guys. You guys are doing amazing things.
yeah, well, we appreciate you a lot too. You're doing a ton for the construction industry and just giving me this type of platform to come and speak. I'm really thankful for. And a cool thing for my dad and I is just like our direct testimony is yes, we made Build 12 by contractors for contractors. And one thing I've ran with in talking to these owners is, hey, let's ditch these general marketing agencies who know nothing about our industry and let's start having contractors helping contractors.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, if you don't have skin in the game, if you don't know about this industry, what is your software really going to do for us? And so it's fun that my family, we're using it in our own businesses and now sharing it with fellow owners. So it's a nice testimony for me to say, hey, I'm not looking to just sell you something I don't use or know much about. We're using it in our own companies, and let me show you exactly how. So
I love it. I absolutely love it. I was on a call the other day with a guy, and he brought up Build 12. They're like, we're getting ready to implement. I said, oh, I know Les and Devin.
nice.
They're like, oh, you do? And I was like, yeah, it's what you guys do. That's amazing. And yeah, so
I love to hear that.
I'm super excited for what you guys are doing. Why don't you tell all the construction champions out there where they can find you, where they can follow you, if they want to talk to you, how do they do that?
Absolutely. So number one, build12.com. Got our website up and running. You could book a demo through there. You could check out, everything we offer there. I'm also on LinkedIn, Devin O'Hara. My pops too, Les O'Hara. We're both active on LinkedIn. And then on Facebook and Instagram as well. We got Build 12, the Build 12 Network Facebook group, and then we got the Build 12 business page as well. So if you just do your due diligence and go into a web browser and look up Build 12, you'll find plenty there.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, really appreciate you, Ron. This is awesome what you do, and thanks for giving me the platform to talk about it.
Thank you. So, construction champions, I think the main note I took right here was, are you working smarter or harder? Like, think about that. What are
That's
you
the question.
doing? What are you doing? Which route are you going? Like, when I referenced the hammer and the nail gun, and I think I stole that from somebody that was on the show at some point in time, but I think it relates to technology so much and how the industry, we kind of think about this is because I say the construction industry is a bunch of early adapters. It's why we have all the new cutting edge tools to do the job better. We just have to start looking at it from the perspective of technology, and these tools are just like going and buying that new tool that's on the job site, and it's going to help your business run more efficient. It's going to help you do more projects. It's going to help you collect more payments. It's going to help you get more people signed up. That's just what technology does. And I'm a big component of the collaboration and bringing people together from within the construction industry. I've said that from day one on this podcast, is like, my goal is to just rip the Band-Aid off and say, we need to collaborate as an industry. There's more than enough people out there. Let's get construction people together and solve the problems together for the industry, instead of, like Devin said, why are we outsourcing all of this when there's
Right.
stuff we can use that was made for the industry? Like,
I love it, Ron.
I'm not,
Contractors helping contractors.
yeah, and I'm not just talking about Build 12 or Builder Comms. Like, let's look at who a lot of people would say is my main competitor, would be like Company Cam. Like, The dude was a roofer working for his parents' roofing company when he had the idea on the roof. Why do you think that's such a success within the construction industry? Like, that's the stuff that matters. Like, those are the companies we should be doing business with as an industry, because those are the tools that will continue to develop for our industry. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to speak for Devin because I'm pretty sure on this, is that when somebody comes back with some feedback that says, I would like to see this, it's going to be a lot more well received at our two companies than anywhere else you go, because we've been there and we've been in the field and we understand what you're saying there's truth to. So think about that. The next time
Absolutely.
you make a decision on some kind of software or new technology for your company, ask the person that is giving you the demo, why was this created? Who created it? And what was it originally created for? And see what that response is.
I love that. So true. It just other fellow people with skin in the game, fellow contractors, construction owners. I know that that's who I want to work with when it comes to this industry, and not just people looking for money grab. Let me SEO website, do all this help for you, but I know nothing about what you're doing. And I always hear from owners how, you know, unhappy they are with the thousands they've spent with some agency who are not contractors. And Ron, that's what guys like you and I are looking to eliminate. So
Yeah, I want to bring everybody together, and we're going to change it because the industry's changing. There's a major shift happening, and we just all got to go out there and do the right thing and do it together and do it for, like I say, create a win-win-win outcome. And every time you have a conversation, you should, like, how me and Les got hooked up, and then Devin came into that, and I don't know if they remember the call or not, Devin, but
oh
like
yeah,
I said, what we need to
of
do
course.
is we just need to make sure whatever we do, we create a win for that contractor or builder. As long as we're putting that first with everything we do, that will have the impact we want to have. It's just create a win for that contractor and builder. And the more people that have that mentality, the better the construction industry is going to be. So great episode. Great time, man. Once again, thank you for being on the show today.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Ron. Looking forward to continue growing this relationship and continue helping fellow contractors and construction owners, because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely, man. So, construction champions, until next time, be the champion you were meant to be. Hey, construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum here, and I want to talk to you about how you can automate all of your marketing. We've had so many people on here talk about getting the systems in place. Well, we have partnered with Build 12 and Construction Champions podcast. Les O'Hara, the founder, what really excites me is his 30 years in the industry. And now he's built a system to be able to nurture your leads and continue to utilize that. I personally use the system myself. Build 12 is absolutely amazing. There's a lot of value in there, and it's a way to start getting away from Angie's List and all of that kind of stuff and start actually creating your own leads every day and have a system for them. So go on our website, check out the show notes, go check out Build 12 and what it can do for the front end of your business today. It's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend going and meeting with Les and his son, Devin, and talking to him about what they built for their own business, so the rest of the industry can take benefit from that. Here on Construction Champions, we're all about helping each other out. And what is better than contractors helping contractors? I say nothing. So let's go take this to the next level. Go check out Build 12. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Les or his son, Devin. We're here to help. We want to continue to grow the industry.